What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 251 of Opinions May Vary. I'm your host, JR. I'm my co-host with me, Alex.
Hi.
Alex has that deep, it's like every year, that deep, rich timbre.
It's not just...
It's not the deep, it's more like the nasally. It hasn't hit the deep part yet.
I think I got nice and deep from one of the Halloween episodes. What? It's morning, too.
Love it. It's not even OMV After Dark, and we're already talking about going nice and deep.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But,
It's voices.
I
don't...
Yeah. Which means I'll probably have it next week, too. I'm pretty excited.
I've stayed away.
Everyone is sick.
We haven't made out recently, so...
Not recently, but like Colin's sick, and I don't want to
Oh.
divulge secrets.
You might get it from him.
It's true. Although we're supposed to see him next week, but
That's true.
I haven't seen him in a couple days because sickness is literally everywhere, except for the man sitting to my left, who's our good pal Ken.
Hi,
Ken.
I'm Ken.
That's our pal Ken. Ken is one of those people who came into my life like 4 years ago for one night.
Was that wasn't 4 years ago?
You know what? That's the story of me with a lot of people.
It was one night. It was.
That wasn't 4 years ago, though.
It was.
It was a while ago.
Was it?
It was a little bit.
Time in my head works differently.
Yeah.
Fighting game night was when I lived in my old apartment.
Yeah.
Which I've lived in my current house for like 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I lived at my parents' for a year.
Okay.
And then before that, like, it was probably like 2.5 to 3 years ago.
Okay.
If I had to guess.
Because that was like one of the last things we did before you moved out of that place.
It was getting there, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we had a fighting game night because I had recently bought Street Fighter 4, like just on a whim. And I was like, I know how to throw Hadouken. We should have people over. And fighting game, I know you had played Tekken, and we had Smash Brothers and stuff. And I think Colin had like King of Fighters or something like that, which we never even ended up playing.
Oh yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah,
King of Fighters
because I've only seen people play that. And I was like, yo, this game looks really hard and fun too. There's a guy, he's fat and he has the long nose.
King of Fighters is just fantastic. And it's like when you sit down and if your background is Street Fighter, you try to play it like Street Fighter.
Right.
And then you realize, there's so much more to this game. Like, I got a buddy of mine who's pretty good at King of Fighters, and I went through a phase back in King of Fighters 13 where I was trying to really learn how to play. And my God, the amount of stuff, I was like, I can't even handle this many mechanics. I was like, there's like short hops and large hops. And
It's like Smash.
Yeah.
Short hop lasers. So
I have this friend, Eric, who collects every system. He has every system in almost every game.
Mm-hmm.
And like he works out like a Toys R Us, so they get these events that he can go to and host and everything. So one of them was he met the girl that is like one of the stars of the Guitar Hero games. So like that's modeled after a real person. And it's like, here's a picture of me, and all that stuff. But he had a cartridge for, I think it was either a Genesis or some other like a cartridge game, before they were using discs. And he was like, this came out last year. And this was this was a few years ago. And I was like, they still make these? Why would it's been obsolete, it's 3 generations ago. And he's like, yeah, the people still buy it, they still want it, so they still make it. And I believe it was one of the King of Fighters or some kind of like combination of that. But like within the past 6 years, they had made a new cartridge.
Aside from like the 3DS, I can't think of what else uses cartridges.
I heard that the Switch is going to be using cartridges.
That's the new Nintendo.
Oh.
The Nintendo Switch.
I mean, it would be very Nintendo to go back to use it because that's what they do. But anyways, I had a fighting game night at my house, and I wanted to play fighting games with my friends. And I think it was Zach. Did Zach bring you?
I was friends with Zach Charbonneau.
Yeah.
And through Sharbs, I met Colin. And
right.
And this was, I definitely knew Sharbs longer than Colin. Like, I had kind of just started to get to know Colin. But it was kind of a mutual, like, invitation from the both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And but I think initially the thing came from Zach that, like, he was like, oh, I'm going to bring my friend Ken. And, like, I remember texting Colin, and I was like, hey, man, what's the story with this guy Ken? Like, I don't know this person. Like, what's going on? And Colin, in true Colin form, was like, oh shit, Zach's bringing Ken. He's like, hold on, like let me talk to him about this. Like, you know, he's like, Ken's notorious for like going in and just like fucking people's stuff up and like just a general asshole. Like, he's like, there's not gonna be any alcohol at your house, right? It was funny. He's like, nah, Ken's a good guy. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. So we all played fighting games that night. Whether we played them well is up for debate, but we all hung out and we played games that night.
Did you bring the pad?
Yeah.
I probably brought my arcade stick.
Yeah.
He did. I remember that.
Okay.
Because I'm that.
He was
I'm
ripping
that guy.
dicks. And then like 2 weeks later, I bought one.
Yeah.
I'm that guy.
And I've used it like 3 times, and it's just been sitting in my, like my TV stand. You know, like it's in one. It fits perfectly in one of the shelves. And I was like, "There's my arcade stick."
I can't. And I grew up in arcades, so it's just that's when it comes to playing like Street Fighter or Tekken. That's how I gotta play. Like, I've tried to play on pad, and I could do it.
It hurts my thumbs.
It's not. I just can't do it
because I mash.
Like, and then I see guys like Knuckle doing it, and I'm just like, I don't even.
Winning tournaments,
winning the fucking championship, winning Capcom Cup with a pad, and I'm just like, man, more power to you.
And he plays like, I mean, again, this is just from personal experience. Like, I suck with charge characters, and he's a notorious Guile player, even though he was playing Armika that time, and I don't know how Armika's played, but like, he's doing it on a pad too, which seems harder to me to play a charge character. I feel like it would just be easier with a stick, but
yeah, I don't know.
I'm just terrible.
I've also heard what he does is he uses both the analog pad, or I'm sorry, the
D-pad,
the D-pad and the analog stick, like in conjunction. Like, he'll switch between the two depending on what he's trying to do.
Okay.
And I've seen players, like, I remember back in Street Fighter 4, you know, because Street Fighter 4 kind of, like, launched kind of a big, like, fighting game revolution.
I loved watching Street Fighter 4.
Street Fighter 4, I mean, it brought me back in, because there was nothing had really dropped before Street Fighter 4 that really, like, brought, in Street Fighter being the granddaddy, it kind of brought everybody back, and it kind of built that excitement again. Plus, it was a good game. And I remember this was the first time I started seeing, because a lot of people were playing the game for the first time on a console, so they got accustomed to playing on a pad rather than an arcade stick. And I started to see a lot more players playing on pad, winning, doing well. And like one guy I remember was a Zangief player in California, Van Geef, and he would do like standing 720s using the pad, and like, you know, usually like, to do a 720, obviously I'm gonna jump at some point, but he could finagle the D-pad and the analog stick so that he could Zangief would just stand there and then do his ultra.
Right.
And I was just like, I literally can't even.
I love, like, one of my favorite, I've kind of abandoned my story here. Essentially, we met Ken one night, and then I didn't see Ken for like 3 years, and now I've either been seeing him every day or talking to him every night because we all play Overwatch together, and it's one of those things that I was like, okay, that's cool. We're gonna have Ken on the show. I was debating if we wanted to delay till August because that's when Evo is. July because that's when Evo is, and Ken has been to Evo, which we're gonna talk about. But I said fuck it, and I dropped that really quick. I've been trying not to swear on the show because I used to swear a lot on the fiddle faddle fiddle faddle it. Or is the faddle the part of it? So you just say fiddle faddle?
I don't know.
Anyways, that's my story. But yeah, I love watching Zangief players. Specifically, I mean, I'm kind of a sucker for Snake Eyes. He's like the main one that everyone knows. He's a Red Bull athlete.
Okay.
He's also Red Bull he's not affiliated with a team, is he?
As far as I know, he's only Red Bull.
I mean, I guess that's all you need.
This is it's kind of new to me to think of players based on their sponsorship.
On their team, yeah.
Because for a lot of these guys, like, I mean, hell, Justin Wong. I knew Justin Wong when he was just that dude from New York beating everybody at Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
And then he was in that video with Daigo.
Yep.
That like I'd seen that video so many times. Yeah, the Evil Moment 37 or whatever it was. I'd seen that video so many times, and I had no idea that it was against Justin Wong. Because like I'd seen Justin Wong like playing Street Fighter. I really
in the video you can hear somebody yelling out, "Let's go, Justin!" and then immediately the super.
Can we clarify what video you're talking about?
Oh yeah,
I think I know, but
yeah. You
for our listeners,
I think we've talked about it in the past. It's where it's like home movies, like back in the day. Like you're filming a TV with a camera.
Yeah.
And it's Justin Wong with his Chun-Li. I said Chung-Li. What am I, child? I love Ryu. It's against Daigo, who's the Beast.
Mm-hmm.
I know his nickname.
Daigo
He's
the
like
Beast,
one of,
Umehara.
if not the most recognizable name in fighting game history. I'd say maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
They're going 1-on-1, and like Daigo's down to like a sliver, right?
Pixel, the magic pixel.
Pixel. Yeah, Ken, take over for me. You know
So-
this much more.
Yeah, this was at one of the early Evos. In fact,
It was Evo. Oh, it was Evo moment.
it is an Evo moment. Now, Evo wasn't always Evo, and we can go in more of that when Evo rolls around. But it was, as Jeremy was saying, Chun-Li versus Ken, and these are two of the top tier characters in Third Strike. And Third Strike had
It's such a fun game to watch.
Oh, I love Third
my
Strike.
god!
There was just a huge tournament called Cooperation Cup just
Like literally last
a
night.
Third
I
Strike
think
tournament.
Flo was streaming it or
Yep.
watching it or something like that.
And Third Strike has the parry mechanic. Parry is a very simple mechanic. You just tap forward, and your character will parry any incoming attacks. Now, of course, there's a timing factor. You tap forward, and they're not doing anything. Nothing happens. You can't really tell if anything's happening. Now, so you can also... The other thing, too, is if you mistime it, nothing happens, and you get kicked in the face.
Uh-huh.
So... And people should, YouTube Evo moment number 37 if you haven't seen it.
It's incredible.
If you YouTube
It never gets old.
That's what'll come up.
So
But-
that wasn't just blocking.
No,
That was
it
parrying.
wasn't.
Yeah.
No, he had to.
What's the...
Because if he tried to block, he would have died anyways from chip damage.
and
Correct?
yes,
Yeah.
So
Because blocking does a little bit
Chun-Li's
of
Super,
damage.
Chun-Li's Super is a series of, anybody knows Chun-Li, she's all about the kicks. Yeah. It's a series of rapid kicks.
Yeah.
Then there's a pause, another series of rapid kicks, then another pause, then a big
Like
kick
up
that
kick.
would finish the combo and knock them up in the air.
Uh-huh.
Daigo was on the verge of losing. Justin is kind of, just doing back and forth, trying to goad Daigo into, making a mistake so he can finish him off. And Justin played very turtle style, very defensively anyway, so he's very comfortable. And for some reason, Justin got a little antsy and decided to
He just
fire
threw it
off
out.
Chun's Super.
Yeah.
She dashes forward, and immediately Daigo, using Ken, starts parrying the first series of kicks. And you can hear... Part of it is also the crowd.
Yeah.
You hear the crowd kind of go, oh, and then the pause. And then after he continues to parry after the pause, the crowd gets louder. And it's building up as he's continuing to parry. And then the last pause, you see Ken jump. He air parries the last kick, lands with a jumping roundhouse, finishes the combo. His combo leads into Ken's Super. Ken's Super does just enough damage to finish off Justin. Everybody's getting up, losing their goddamn minds.
So-
and it's Seth Killian is the one who did the recording, and you can hear him just losing his mind. And it's one of those. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it.
I'm getting
If you
goosebumps
were-
hearing you
If
talking
you were
about
to
it.
watch it, you'd just be like, "Oh my god!"
So what had to be explained to me a while ago was that you had to parry every individual kick.
if he
And
had,
there's like a low kicks and high kicks and
well, all of the kicks can just be done by tapping forward.
Yeah.
But it's also like, if you ever get a chance, sit down, go into training mode in Third Strike, have Chun-Li do her super, and then you try to parry it. It's not easy.
You just hit forward a couple
now,
times.
When it's in this thing, that first part is relatively easy. I've done the first part. It's after that pause that kind of your timing has to kind of reset, and then you have to keep doing it again. And that was
And
why
then the air one.
And then the air one. And the thing is, if he had just blocked, he would have died from chip damage.
okay.
And if he got hit, he's also dead. So he really had no choice but to parry the entire thing. And what's funny is that, Justin was the one trying to goad him into a mistake.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Justin just got antsy. And yeah,
I mean,
it's a moment that'll live in
95% of the
infinity.
time.
Did that finish the match or
Yeah.
was there another one
I
after
think
that?
I'm trying to remember.
Oh,
I
they're talking
actually
about,
there's
that round. I was like, yeah, you
there's
won
an
that round.
entire- there's a book about the moment called Evo Moment number 37 that I've read. It's pretty good, and it's not only it's about the moment and kind of what sprung off of that, what led up to it, what it did for fighting games at the time. And then that's the other thing too is Justin's been on his end of comebacks too.
Mm-hmm.
There's
The Wong factor.
There's a Marvel vs. Capcom 2 video of him coming back against Yipes with nothing but Cyclops in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Yipes had his entire team of Magneto, Storm, and Psylocke, and Justin comes back with nothing but Cyclops. Which
That's insane.
in Marvel 2 is very difficult. Marvel 3, you've got like the whole X Factor mechanic.
Right. It does so much
Marvel
damage.
2, though, you've got nothing. You've got to go with just what you've got in that character. And it's just... And like I said, we can talk more about Evo like as the time rolls around, but man, for somebody like me who like grew up in arcades, being at Evo, being in that atmosphere on final Sunday and just losing your mind with people who are like-minded, it's crazy. It's so like I went 3 years ago, and before that I went 2 years prior to that. I'm definitely, I want to go this year. I'm planning on it. But man, it's nuts. Like realizing like, wow, this used to be just in a smoky arcade, and now we're in the Mandalay Bay, and everybody's losing their mind watching what's happening on this projector. It's nuts. So yeah, go YouTube Evo moment number 37, and
It's incredible. Like I read this like synopsis of it one time online that someone was like detailing like move by move like what was going on. Like you can see Justin trying to bait out. You can see Daigo like trying to get the time. Like they said that like if you watch closely, you can see Daigo trying to get the timing just right. Like he was like they both knew. It's just brilliant, brilliant shit.
Third Strike's a fun game. Third Strike, it's difficult to play. Like I akin Third Strike to people know Counter-Strike a lot better. Counter-Strike's a very difficult game to get into if you haven't played it for the extended length of time that it's been around. Third Strike is a lot like that. There's just a lot of nuances that if you're playing against somebody who knows what they're doing, they're gonna make you feel like you're awful at the game.
Was there anyone in Third Strike like back in the day? Because I didn't really get into the FGC until like Street Fighter 4, and I got into the FGC because of Smash. Because like I started watching like Smash and Evo, and I was like, oh hey, like these other fighting games are here too, and that's kind of fun. But like Third Strike, was there anyone who just dominated it?
So Third Strike was largely dominated by Japanese players. There was Daigo. There was also players like Kuroda. Kuroda was well known for using the low tiers in that game, and kind of blowing everyone's mind by using like a character like Q, who was considered awful. Oh man, it's been a long time, but it was mainly Japanese players. I think the best American players were Ricky Ortiz and Justin Wong, which time has gone on and not much has changed. Both of them are still very good players.
Yeah, Ricky just took second at Capcom Cup.
Yep.
Which I was rooting for. Like I'm a big fan of Ricky Ortiz. Like I loved watching her Rufus in Street Fighter 4. Even though I never really saw her win like an actual like a tournament, like fully win, like take first. That's the thing about Street Fighter 4 is that like, or even really Street Fighter 4 and 5, like someone different wins, or someone wins every tournament, and it's always someone different. I don't know what I just said. Different people win every tournament. There it is. Got it.
There's a lot of parity.
Yeah,
like it's somebody. Yeah, no,
it's not like Smash where it's like okay, so it's either going to be Hungrybox, Armada, maybe Mango if he's playing well. PPMD it has been taking a hiatus for a while, and Mewtwo King he won one randomly. He won Shine, the one I wanted to go to in Boston.
Oh yeah.
But like it's typically one of like 3 or 4 players. Whereas like I'll be watching Street Fighter 5 and I'm like, who is this? I don't know who this is, and they're just dominating
Street
everyone.
Fighter 5 has sent a pretty big shakeup. I mean, you talk about 4 brought in a lot of new faces to fighting games. 5 has brought in not only brought in a bunch of new faces, but also a lot of older players are having more success because now they're veterans. They were rookies in 4, now they're veterans.
They're veterans at the age of 27.
Five old. Hey, my God, I'm so old. Like, oh man, like we talk like when I tell people like, oh, when I first started playing, like, because I still go to tournaments, and I've been going to tournaments for Street Fighter 5, trying to get back into it, and like I have conversations with some of the guys, and like I'll try to give them advice, and I understand why they want to listen to my advice because they might be having more success than I am. But I'll be like, I've been doing this since you were like in middle school. Like I've gone through all the phases you're going through. Like I watched you play, and I'm like I remember that phase. I remember that. I remember doing that stuff. Like, and I'm like, and they're like, well, how old are you? And I'm like, I'm 32, man. My first tournament game was Soul Calibur 2. Soul Calibur 2
on the Dreamcast. Was that Dreamcast?
It did come out on the Dreamcast. But I mean, I played.
That was at
I
arcade.
played in the arcade, and I used to go to a Framingham Mass for monthly tournaments in that. And that game holds a strong place because I met so many friends that I still talk to today because of that game. And that's another reason why I love fighting games. It's the people I've met through playing them. You know, like playing online,
Like us,
yeah,
right?
absolutely, yeah.
Treasured friendships.
Playing online is strange because it's just not the same. Like I'm used to playing with the person next to me. Like I remember my buddy PJ used to try to like psych you out. Like he used to like kind of put his hand like over my hand like, before a match, and I'd just be like, and it's good training. It's good training. You know, it really keeps your nerves
Psychological,
in check.
yeah.
Like I'm not. If anybody ever does this in tournament, I'll be ready for it. Thanks, Peach.
I like that's the thing. Like I love playing the games, but like I don't have any experience in that psychological aspect. I just get so I've played in one tournament in my life, and that was at the park.
Oh yeah.
We had a Smash tournament. Me and Joe were a team. It was a teams tournament, and like it was in the Hall of Justice. Like we used the giant hall. I don't know if I'm supposed to be divulging this information, but oh well, I don't work there anymore. It's been 10 years. And like I remember, I was like, we're gonna wreck this shit. Like we were good, and like I knew the people we were playing against, and like I was so fucking nervous. I think I SD'd twice. I killed myself.
Yeah.
And we ended up just losing the first match we played, and I was just like, I know we were supposed to win that match, but I was just so freaked out. And then I remember I entered a tournament at when I was going to MCC a while back. So when Brawl first came out, they're like, hey, we're having a tournament, you know, sign up here. So like I signed up for it. I was like, I want to play this. This is going to be neat. I remember practicing against level 9s. It was fun. And then like I show up for the tournament, nothing's there. Like no one was there. The place was empty. I was like, so yep. Is it happening? Or did you just like take my email address?
I've definitely experienced that many times. I've experienced tournaments where there's like 64 people at a local, you know, which is supposed to be small. And then I've gone to tournaments where it's like 4 people. I've gone to tournaments where the person I brought with me beat me. And I made him take me to Applebee's after with the winnings. Shout outs to Doug. No, the nerves. I feel like when it comes to competitive anything, when you put time into something. But I specifically remember my first Soul Calibur 2 tournament, Framingham arcade called Fun and Games. I was playing as Nightmare. I went up against who would become a friend of mine, guy named Ryan, a.k.a. Sponge, playing Taki. And I
Sponge. Is that because he sucks?
No, he was actually.
No.
I was taught this joke a while ago. It was. I was just thinking about it the other day. It was a wrestling tough enough thing where there was a guy who was like really good and strong, but he sucked on the mic, and so like Brooklyn Brawler was like, "Hey, cut a promo right now. Your name is the Sponge." And he's like, and then Al Snow's like, you could have said how much you suck, how you'll suck the other guy, all the sucking jokes, because you're a sponge. You just absorb everything. You completely missed it. Just shut up and go home. Go home. And I was like, it's funny.
He was actually Sponge for quite the opposite. He was apparently he had gained the nickname Sponge because he was so good at taking in information.
Okay.
The other 2 buddies of mine, Jay and Tim, that brought him in, they had much more experience playing fighting games than he did, yet he was already catching up to and beating them because he was just taking it all in.
Yeah.
And the other thing, too, fighting game handles, it's hilarious. So, I diverge a little bit. I'm known as White Shadow when it comes to fighting games. Because when I was 13 years old, on the Tekken Zaibatsu message boards, I thought White Shadow just sounded cool.
Yeah.
Because when you're 13, stuff like that sounds cool.
Absolutely.
And I'm not even going to lie to you. I got the name from watching the Jim Carrey movie Cable Guy. The scene where he's playing basketball with like Jack Black. He checks the ball up to a guy and shoves his mouthpiece in and goes, "Let's see what you got, White Shadow." And I thought, that's great. That's an awesome name. So I get on Tekken Zaibatsu. I'm like 13, 14 years old, and I become White Shadow. Mm-hmm. Little would I know that at the age of 32, I'm still entering tournaments and saying, "White Shadow, you're up on Station 5." And yeah, and it's carried with me. And I've got my buddy Tim. He's just too cool. Like it's TOCOOL. It's not even grammatically correct. and then I sit there and I go like, oh man, what's holding the fighting game community back? Maybe it's
why are the old white guys on ESPN always making fun of us?
Yeah. Oh man, gee, I wonder.
So I watched the Smash Brothers, like the little documentary.
Yeah, we talked about that a long time ago.
And there's a guy who was a player who like switched to commentary. And his like handle is wifey.
Wife. Yeah, wife.
Yeah. But
because there was husband and wife.
Yeah.
Yep, and he was wife.
That's one of those things.
Yep.
Hey, what do you go by? I'm wife.
And he still goes by wife.
Yeah.
Like that. He does commentary sporadically.
But like you can't really switch something like that because you'll be mocked, I imagine. But how bad could it be if your name is wife?
I mean, and he's like a respected member of the community too. Like he's. I remember. I think the last time I saw him, he was doing commentating for I think like an MLG event or something like that. But, yeah. I mean, when I think back, and it's a little bit different. Like when I think back to like my old usernames online.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh god, that's some cringy shit. Right
we have
there.
a friend whose PSN name is like a sniper assassin, and then like 5 numbers.
Ambush sniper.
Because like the first ambush sniper 0 through like 5,000 are taken.
Yeah. No, I love that. Like I only like I look at the numbers and I'm like, that number's not like a date or a year or anything. Like you definitely just tacked on some numbers, like probably you picked your 4 favorite numbers and you like 5 a lot, so it's in there twice. No, and then White Shadow, like you guys, my PSN name is Sombre Blanco, which is a grammatically incorrect version of White Shadow in Spanish, because during Tekken, I like to play the Mexican wrestler King.
Yeah.
And Tekken 5 had this card system where you could save, your data, your win-loss, and kind of customize your character. And I made a King card. You could name the card. And I asked my Spanish-speaking friends, I was like, I know White's Blanco. How do you say shadow? And they're like, oh, well, it's sombra. But they're like, but that's feminine. And they were like, you want to make it masculine. So, and now I'm like, oh, well, and I didn't know any better. So I was like, oh, so what do I do? Just stick an E on it? And they're like, well, no. But that's actually pretty cool because it's like ombre. So it becomes Sombre Blanco. And so now because White Shadow is always taken on everything because it's so cool.
Right.
So now on everything starting, like, and this is back when I played World of Warcraft, I was a troll hunter named Sombre Blanco. The number of Spanish-speaking whispers I get with white hat, ?
Don't worry about it.
No habla. De habla español? And I know to answer, un poquito. a little. Just a little. Enough to make this terrible username.
Back in the Halo days, which I refer to a lot, because I've always used the gamer tag.
Back in my Halo days.
Back in the day, when me and John 117, whatever his call sign, guy from Halo, Master Chief. Anyways, Master Chef. I remember when I was making my gamer tag, I was like, "Fuck, I need this to be cool. I don't want it to be stupid."
That's how you know it's gonna end up stupid.
And I dig my gamer tag. I mean, it's because at the time I was digging hard on like Infinite Crisis and Superboy. Love Superboy. I'm a big fan of Superboy. Superboy's real name is Connor Kent. So I was like, I'm gonna use Connor Kent, but the second O is gonna be a 0. So, but everyone started reading it as Con or Kent. So like back when I would actually play like with mic on, which was rare. And you get the Halo Bros. It'd be Con or Ken. What the fuck does that mean? And there was one time where I was playing with this. I hated him at first. He was just a dickhead. I don't remember who he was. Don't remember his tag. I just got matched up with him in matchmaking. He was on my team, and he was like, Connor Kent, huh? He was like, well, I'm fucking Lex Luthor. And I was like, okay, yeah. And we played like 6 or 7 games together. I was like, hey, man, I got to go by. He's like, yeah, whatever, fuck you. Like, he was...
I thought we bought.
Yeah, I was like, I thought we had a thing there. But there's been like one time... I mean, now, I mean, for all I know, people are talking to me, but I just have my default settings set to I only want to talk to my friends. I just don't like people on the internet. You know, it's just annoying. Don't tell me we need another healer.
I joined into a game in Overwatch, and I was going to be one character, and then I switched to go to another one. And there was like some kid who was like, no, go back to that, and then what you got to do is, and I was like, leave game. No. Nope.
See,
do not tell me what to do.
I try
when you're 13.
I try to do the opposite. So I try to get into team chat, and I try to be the level-headed person who's just trying to make a call or two, and try to get us the dub. I get into a game the other day, and it's rare, especially on PS4, where everybody's in voice chat, and 5 of the 6 people on the team were in voice chat.
Yeah,
this is Overwatch, and there's this there's two other guys who are older, and then this kid, and he picks Widowmaker. Bless his little heart. And we're playing, and I immediately started, and I was like, listen, man, I'm not trying to be a jerk. If this Widowmaker doesn't work out, can you please change? And he goes, yeah, okay, I'll change. And I'm like, okay, cool. And as the match is going on, it's not going terribly, but, we're not doing well. And
right.
he goes, oh, man, my aim is just not very good. And I immediately, me and the 2 other guys go, well, if your aim's not great, probably shouldn't play the sniper character. So he goes like, all right, I'll change. And,
Hanzo.
He did. He changed to Hanzo, and I was like, oh man, that you nailed it. And like, I'm trying to be nice, but also trying to have a good time. And the match is continuing on, and we're kind of starting to lose. And I'm trying to kind of get everybody on board. Like, okay, let's figure something out. What's going wrong? And the kid, he's kind of talking very loud and over everybody. Yep. And I'm like, hey, listen, quiet down. Just hear me out for a second. I was like, listen, I've been doing this since before you were born. And I said it both seriously and jokingly, because I have been doing it. And I was like, what are you, like 12, 13 max? And he goes, how did you know? And I'm like, gee, he's like, is it the squeak? And he said that, and I was like, listen, I can't hate this kid completely. He's having a whatever. We ended up losing, but I couldn't hate the kid. And he was like, let's stay as a team. But I was like, I don't hate you, kid, but no.
Yeah, I played a win. I saw something online once. It was like 3 or 4 months ago, and it was like, I was playing Overwatch. And I had the chat turned off, and like I was ready to rage, and I turned on chat just to like freak out on these guys because I hated them, and like we lost the match and it was bad. None of them wanted to switch, and like I turned on the chat and like to hear this kid being like, "Hey, sorry guys, I'm not very good at this game," and blah blah blah. And he was just like, it gave me a different perspective. Yeah. Like I was like, hey, well, keep trying, I guess.
We were all there at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I still remember the first time I ever played Halo Online. Like, it was equal parts like humiliating and like
after only playing the campaign of anything, and like then playing whatever multi matches, the computer AI matches in the game, and then like thinking like, all right, I'm gonna take it online and I'll wreck, because I wreck so good in campaign, and then you just get your ass handed to you.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's a different world.
I still I will not play Hearthstone online. I'm just not. I know that I am not good at that game. So I just stay away from it. I won. I remember I went into just like random, not ranked play, just like the casual play. The first game I ever played, I won, and I was like, okay, I'm a god. I'm a genius at this game. Give me the cards.
I've got 100% win rate. So
yeah, I will play them to the best of my abilities, which is to. And then like I played one more game and it just got smoked. Like I thought I had the guy too, and like he just destroyed me. So, but like Overwatch, I'll play online all day. Like Halo, I used to solo queue all the time. used to get some really intense messages. That was a fun time. Back in the day when like hacking was a thing. I'm gonna jack your account, man. I'm gonna jack your account.
Yeah, my dad works for Nintendo.
Yeah, that's why even to this day,
the
like
amazing uncle. My uncle works for Nintendo.
Back in the day, like when streaming first became a thing, like I remember like a bunch of the Halo pros used to get jacked, or they used to get like DOSed and stuff like that, or DDoSed rather.
Yep.
Because like when you play with someone, like if they have the right shit, they can see your IP. And they can just flood your modem. They'll just knock you offline all day. And it's like, well, give me your account, or put me on your friends list, and I'll stop knocking you offline. And like it was a legitimate thing for a while. Like these people were just being harassed by just real great people, apparently. And then it was like, oh, they jacked my account. That's why back in the Halo days in the Xbox, you never bought a Xbox Gold subscription with a credit card. You would always go to GameStop and get the card there and then plug it in.
Yeah.
Never use your credit card, because if someone jacked your account, they'd have your credit card.
Wow. See, I really wasn't playing games around that time, around like the Xbox period. Xbox
Like 2009.
Yeah, like I don't know. Well, I mean, I was in school and I had kind of like fallen out of like playing video games, which I guess it sounds like, I just didn't have it anymore. Like, but like I just I didn't really have time anymore. And then when I did have time, I fell into League. I really say I fell into League. Nothing against anybody who plays League, but it was a phase. It was a phase.
I'm not here to judge.
We've worked through it.
I'm not here to judge at all. League of Legends is arguably the biggest video game on the planet.
Oh, it's still number 1 on Twitch like every day. It's nuts. And I can understand why. But it was after I picked up an Xbox 360. I like finished up school and I picked up an Xbox 360, and it was Bayonetta and Batman Arkham Asylum that like got me back into video games.
Really?
Yep. Those are the two games, like literally those two games. Something about playing both of them, and they came out around the same time. I was like, this is why I loved video games. Like it's just like I'm being taken like Bayonetta is so over the top, and I fell in love with it. And the thing for the longest time, like people would be like, "Oh, what's that game like?" And I'm like, "I'm not going to talk about Bayonetta." Like, and I remember when Bayonetta 2 came out.
Yeah.
The girl I was dating at the time, I was pretty excited about Bayonetta 2, and I was like, she was like, "Oh," and she didn't play video games or anything, and I was just like, she's like, "Oh, well, what's it about?" And I'm like, "I'm not going to tell you this because you aren't going to talk to me anymore." And then like one day I was playing, like she was still asleep and I was playing, and she comes up and I'm in the middle of fighting these demons and angels and getting naked and Bayonetta's hair coming off, and I'm just like, do not judge me, and I've got the Wii pad in my hand and I'm like, don't look at me.
This.
Yeah. But yeah, it was Bayonetta and then Batman Arkham Asylum. Batman Arkham Asylum, it like
that game is unbelievably good.
I was just like, I feel like I'm playing. I feel like I'm Batman. I feel like I'm.
Oh yeah.
I was like, this is just fantastic. This is fantastic. And yeah, those two games, and then after that, it was just I got super hardcore back into games, and
I feel like there's certain things that some people won't admit to, and I feel like playing Bayonetta is one of them.
I can't not admit to it. She's one of my favorite characters at this point. Like I remember when she got announced for Smash, I was just like, I'm stoked to play this character in Smash. She's great, and the games are just so much fun. They're so over the top, and I love that. I love the huge bosses. Like that's video games to me. Like just fighting giant things.
That seem impossible.
There's comic books that I read because they're intelligent, or they're smart, or they're like a high science fiction concept, or there's good storytelling, or the art's gorgeous. There's a lot of reasons. But then there's comic books that I get with the sole purpose of that it's a comic book. It's very comic booky. There's characters in costumes, there's bright colors, and then there's a huge battle. And the best reason I could give for liking is that it's comic booky. It's supposed to be a little ridiculous and a little over the top, and that's what I appreciate about it. It's not like reading a Brian K. Vaughan. Like, it's this amazing drama that's happening and unfolding in front of you. So I could see where you're coming from. Of like, no, it's this giant, larger than life, ridiculous, plot and character and storyline. It's she's got guns for heels. What about it?
She's a witch fighting angels. The enemies in Bayonetta 1, they're angels, and they're trying to stop her. And it's just like, and the oh my god, it's just so crazy fun. Like doing the combos, and then like I said, the bosses, like including the final boss, and it's just like, oh man, like if you can get over like all the weirdness of it, it's Japanese as hell. And bless their hearts, they don't care. The Japanese do not care. Oh man, I love them for it. They're like, are people gonna have fun doing it? Then put it in, do it.
I can imagine wanting to slap someone who's like, yeah, God of War and Kratos is the best, but Bayonetta is stupid. It's like, it's pretty much the same. You're just reversing a gender. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. So much fun playing Bayonetta, and it like researched my interest in video games that I just had, and then recently I've been kind of catching up. Like people have been going through like their best games of 2016.
Okay.
And I'm like, I really didn't play any games. I didn't play any 2016 games in 2016.
Yeah.
Like I recently bought a PlayStation 4, and I had never played the Uncharted games, so I've been playing those, and those are fantastic.
Gorgeous.
I went back and played The Last of Us. Amazing game. Like,
you're not gonna get anything from him on that. Alex is the one guy who doesn't like Last of Us.
The thing is I can kind of get it. The first 2 hours, I was just like, I don't get what's so special about this game. This seems okay, I get it. It's dystopian,
miserable,
post-apocalyptic. A lot of stealth. Okay, they aren't zombies; they're clickers. Whatever. Like, I get it. And then it hits a point where I'm just like, all right, I understand it. I'm in.
I never made it to that point.
Yeah, I could see why people didn't. I almost didn't play the game. I had watched. We referenced him earlier. Our friend Zach Sharps. I had watched him play the first hour and a half, 2 hours, and he had gushed about the game already. And I was just like, I don't get it, man. And then I almost never even picked up the game. I saw the game was on sale, and I was like, if I don't like it, worst thing is I didn't spend a lot of money on it, and I bought that and Bloodborne. And my God, the best $26 I've ever spent was on those two games. Bloodborne. Man, Bloodborne's another one. I didn't think that was going to be the type of game I liked, and it is punishing in the beginning. But it's addicting.
We talked about
Mama's got the vape.
that game night where we first met. And so we were like, well, we should play some Tekken. Because
there's the big joke.
Our friend Joe, who's frequently on, he thinks Tekken is terrible.
I mean, it's not just I also don't.
There's a lot of making fun of hate that goes back and forth about Tekken. I'm the only defender usually. Brett's like, yeah, it's not bad, but I'm like, he doesn't always play it. But I've been playing the Tekken Revolutions, which is one of the free download, but you'd buy coins or upgrades or whatever. And so Jared would come over and see me playing that and watch me play. And I figured I was pretty okay at it because I would beat most of the online competitors I come up against. But that's you're still ranked pretty well. It's a pretty accurate ranking system in that one. And so we're playing one of the versions at Jared's game night, and Ryan, who does a lot of gaming, I beat him playing Tekken with one hand. I was using just one hand, but it's he didn't know what the controls. He doesn't always play, so it's it's not an accomplishment to beat someone who's never picked it up before. But then I start playing Ken, and I think someone was watching too, and I think it went 5-1, where you beat me at least 4 or 5 times, and I got one win over you, and I was like, I'm done. That's it.
I'm retiring.
But this was also I think that was also Zach's thought too. Because you guys were playing Street Fighter. And Zach's like, I beat Ken once, I'm done.
And that's the thing, and that's why I was invited. My friends know I love fighting games. Fighting games they're my favorite genre. They just always have been. the first game I remember playing in my brain is the original Street Fighter, not 2, the original, where player 1 was Ryu, player 2 was Ken.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, pushing a chair up to the cabinet because I was in a bowling alley arcade, pushing a chair up to be able to play. And then after that, Street Fighter 2, I see this guy's name is Ken, and I'm just like, oh, this is fantastic. Like, and I just, those are the games I fell in love with. And as I got older, I further fell in love with Tekken 2. I remember playing Tekken 2, playing as martial law, and like, just, I was like, I'm fucking Bruce Lee. Like this, I'm Bruce Lee. This is, and it's just, fighting games have always just been my favorite. And, you know, and then you go deep into them and you're like, oh, you know, I want to beat other people. Like,
Yeah.
I want to get better at this. So I started traveling around New England and going to tournaments and seeking out tournaments and meeting people. And
My thing was finally trying to learn the movesets. Because we got to a point where it's like, oh, there's combos I could do now. Or like there's special moves that you don't just know by hitting one button. Since like you would go to the arcade and like research the cabinet because like, I would have everyone's like, I would have it printed out on the cabinet somewhere and be like, okay, so right in like these 3 buttons at once, or like 1, 2, 3, he would do some like drop kick or whatever.
I was the kid who would have a notebook like in his back pocket, or like notebook paper in my pocket with like all the moves from like Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 for like the characters I wanted to learn how to use. I must have made my parents spend an inordinate amount of money on printer ink, printing out facts from Game Facts on like Tekken Tag Tournament.
Oh yeah.
I would print out entire facts from Game Facts, go to the Holyoke Mall, and play Tekken Tag Tournament, and just try to do the combos because I couldn't play at home. Like, I had Tekken 3 at home, but it wasn't Tekken Tag Tournament.
Right. Yeah. The thing that would suck is like when you're trying to practice and like get the move down, and then someone comes up to play against you. You're like, I'm doing will you? God damn it!
Oh, and that's the thing is like, of course, people would play, and at the time I was a kid. Like I would. Anytime I saw the anger it brought somebody to lose to me. Like I remember vividly beating a guy using nothing but kings, like Big Boot, which is just back plus right kick.
Yeah,
it's just. And I was like, I just want to play king, and like I was just like, back 4, like, and he just kept eating Big Boot, and he was just like, really, that's all you're gonna do? And I was just like,
it's working.
Yeah, because I'm 13, that's all I'm gonna do. He's wearing a Jaguar mask. That's why I picked him.
And then like you can watch someone like Snake Eyes do like 4 SPDs in a single match, and like every time he does it, people yell louder and louder. Whereas like when I was a kid,
can you SPD? What?
Spinning pile driver.
Okay. That's just what the Zangief thing.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
And like it gets more and more hype every time he lands one. Whereas like if I was a kid, if my brother did more than one Psycho Crusher to me in a row, it was cheap and I'd shut the game off.
Dude, that is, oh man, the conversations I've had with people where like I've had to explain to them, I'm like, no. They're like, whoa, well, don't you think that's cheap? And I'm like, no.
No, I do. I hate.
And I get
so
it.
when I'm online and I'm playing against Devil Jin or Kazuya or whatever, and they go Devil and they eye blast, and then like the thing where they run, pick you up and slam you down, and just do that because if they power their attack up enough, they could do that 3 times and not and KO you. And so it's like I would just hate it, and I would feel such joy when I destroy a Devil Jin or a Kazuya, because when I know they're only going to do those 3 moves, they're going to eye blast and then do this other thing and then do one more thing, and like the only chance you have, because I'm also a King player, is to like fake them out, so I have to get close without eating that one punch, and then after I eat that, well, I'm at distance, so I have to either duck or dodge their eye blast, and so just like you have to tailor your play style against their spam. And so like when it works, it feels really good, but when it doesn't work, I'm so pissed.
Oh yeah, no, I know that feeling all too well. And when I have conversations about this, I go like, well, listen, if I'm losing to something and I'm getting mad about it because it's obvious, then that's on me. That's on me. Yeah. I should be better. So, and when I try to tell people like the joy of playing a fighting game competitively for me, because I remember I had a friend who go like, "Can't you play just to have fun?" And I told him straight out, I was like, "Winning is fun for me. Winning is fun."
Yeah.
Because of the effort that goes into the win, because of the amount of work I put in, because I want to learn more about this game. I want to know how all of it works. That's the same way that people pick apart a Bloodborne. The same reason that people want to platinum a Japanese RPG that has this large world.
Yeah.
That's how I play these games. I want to learn everything about it. I want to learn the matchups. When we're both playing, if you're doing a move, I figure out the counter to that move.
Yeah.
Then you have to figure out the counter to my counter.
Right.
Now we're playing the game.
Yeah.
Now we're really playing the game.
We're using all the tools that it's given us.
The best explanation for a fighting game once it has reached that level of strategy that I've ever read was back in this fact that I read back in Tekken 3. It was just like the psychology of fighting games. And it was written by a guy, I don't remember his real name, Cat Lord. He was a Tekken player out of New Jersey, and he was pretty prominent back in the day. And he wrote this fact, the psychology of fighting games, and he described the inner workings of a fighting game as that scene in The Princess Bride, where it's been a while, but it's the last kind of trial that the main character goes through.
Dread Pirate Roberts.
Yes,
Roberts.
and he's
That's what I said.
the poison in the cup.
I feel like I heard something wrong.
Oh,
Dread-
I tried to say Roberts, if that's what...
Yeah, it's the poison in the cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Iocane.
He starts to explain like you're going to think that I think that the poison's in my cup, but I know that you're going to think that the poison's in my cup, so I'm going to think that the poison's in your cup. And
But you
know
didn't
that,
switch the cup, so I can't drink the one in front of me.
exactly. That whole back and forth is literally what it's like playing a fighting game at a competitive level. I know you might low kick right now. You know that I know that you might low kick right now. So I'm going to be looking for it. And because you know I'm going to be looking for it, you're going to do this. But you know that I know that I know that you know that it, and then you just stare at each other. But that's like the joy of it. And like lately I've been getting back into Street Fighter V and I'm rusty as hell. And I'm also learning a new character. It's Guile. He's been around since, God, the Earth was created.
He can move his arms fast enough to create a sonic boom.
It's amazing. What a true American. But I've never played the character before. I've never played the character to any sort of extensive level in any Street Fighter ever. So for me, it's learning a new character. And I played 2 nights ago, and I lost repeatedly. Repeatedly. To good players, bad players, gimmicks, like cheese, like stuff that I was just like, oh man, what is the answer to this? And then I just kept going, there is an answer. Find the answer. And just focus on that. And then just get better, man. Just like when it comes to fighting games, I understand why. Like I watch games like League blow up. I watch games like Overwatch blow up. And like they have these giant fan bases and like people are playing them and getting into them. And then I think, why hasn't fighting games reached that number? Like fighting games is big. It's not as big as League, and it's been around much longer. Fighting games aren't easy to get into. They turn a lot of people off when it comes to the competitive side. Like people do enjoy watching them, but to get people playing them is difficult. Like I have a lot of conversations with people about like, oh, why don't you play Tekken? And these are people who play other fighting games. Like it's too hard. And I get that. Tekken, there's a whole system to getting up.
Yeah.
There's a whole system to getting up in that game, and I understand that. And I see the turnoff.
I like Tekken, but I cannot play Street Fighter. But I can play one close to, like, I do okay at Soul Calibur, but I still like Tekken better. But at least Soul Calibur has like a similar mechanic to it, or some engine, I guess you would call it.
Yeah, well, it's 3D first and foremost.
Yeah.
You've got that freedom of movement.
It's not just on a 2D plane.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. Even in Street Fighter 4, I played a lot of Street Fighter 4. I never got over the hump. Like, there were certain things, like, I played Street Fighter all my life, not at a competitive level. Tekken and Soul Calibur, I did. My mind works with those games, and Street Fighter, it's different. And
I can't sidestep.
It's hard to explain, but yeah, you're put in a lot of situations in a Street Fighter game where it's like, no, you have no options. Like, this is your option, block, and that's it.
There's a YouTube channel that I watch sometimes just to try and keep up with you guys, JR.
Yeah.
It's called Core A Gaming, and one of their videos was about what kind of player you are. And they narrowed it out to like 3 different types of players. And it's like you can analyze the gameplay itself and like have it in your head of like exactly how far the reach is, and like that's how Mewtwo King plays. It's like he has almost like knowing the pixel depth of how far you have to be from someone to hit him or avoid an attack or something like that. And then there was one of like I forgot what one of them was, but I realized however they worded it, I'm like a heart player or an instinct player, where it's like I'm going to play to a style of how I think my opponent's going to play. And if they do something different, it throws me way off because I don't have like a different plan for that. So there's players that like have a specific plan of like no matter what, this is how I'm going to go about it. And like I find when I'm playing King, like I'm expecting different players to play certain ways. So after playing online so much, and then like I'll play Brett, and who's next to me in person, and he plays a completely different way than everyone that's been playing online, because you have to match against everyone who's online. It's like playing chess against a grandmaster, then playing chess against like a kid who learned yesterday. They play completely differently, and it's like they don't know what the rules are. They're not like established rules, but they're just a way that you would play. And the fact that they don't do that, it throws you off.
Oh yeah, I definitely went through, like I said, like I talk with a lot of the younger guys that I play with now, and I try to tell them, like, I remember that thought process. And I used to be in that thought process where I was so hung up on, why are you doing that move? That move is unsafe. If I block it, you'll eat it. And it would be like, but I didn't block it. So that's why he did it. You're the idiot. And you start to progress, like, as like a player. And you start to get to that point where you reach, like, I'm sure there was a point in time where Mewtwo King was more of that instinctive player and more of that, this is what I would do in that situation, so that's what he should do. Oh, shit, he didn't do that.
Yeah.
And it throws you off.
He's just a robot. Have you ever seen the Smash Bros. Documentary? Have you ever watched that?
No.
So interesting. It's long. Like, there's a lot to watch. There's like 12 episodes or something like that. And it starts...
So it's like a Ken Burns thing.
Kind of, yeah, but it's like it was
Ken
like
Burns Smash.
It was like fan made, or it was crowdfunded, and then it's incredible. It goes back so far into like the Smash community, like with Ken, who was the king of Smash for a long time, and then it goes into like the 5 gods and all that stuff, and it, like there's a couple episodes, 1 or 2 episodes devoted to Mewtwo King, and how like he was just like. Even they interviewing like other people, like they interviewed Ken, they're just like, yeah, when Mewtwo King first showed up, he was a scrub, like he was just
and Ken was Marth, right?
Yeah,
that's what he was like.
He was like the Marth. It's like, holy shit, Marth can be played at this level. Like, who knew that? Like, he found the Ken combo. Like, it was just, and still to this day, when someone Ken combos, it's like vomiting on the floor. It's so good. It's so satisfying.
But then, and even like I got to catch up on the wording because like someone new would show up and they're like, oh, he's a puffer. I was like, what do you mean? Oh, he plays Jigglypuff.
He's just Jigs, It's just Jigs. Like, that's what, like, a lot of people accuse, like, Hungrybox is doing. Oh, he uses Jigs. Like, and that's what a lot of people accuse Mango of way back in the day, because Mango showed up and he's terrorizing the scene. It's just using Jigglypuff. And, like, Hugs says that in the documentary, literally, word for word, like, oh, it's just Jigs. So then Mango is just like, fuck you guys. I'm going to make the switch to the space animals, to Fox and Falco. And now he's just dominating everyone with them, too. But, like, whereas, like, Hungrybox is still with Jigs. But, like, Hungrybox has said, like, my hands do not move fast enough for the space creatures. Like, everyone, like, there's a big joke, like, with Hungrybox's Fox, his H-Fox. Makes me laugh every time. Like, he has a Fox that he plays every now and then, but, like, it's nowhere near to the level of, like, Armada or Mango or anything like that. But, like, his Jigglypuff is just so fucking good. I love watching it. Like, I don't know, I'm in the huge minority here. I love watching Hungrybox play.
I'm not gonna lie. When I watch Smash, when I see Hungrybox playing Jigglypuff, I'm just like, he's just air forwarding repeat?
It's actually back air.
Is it back
Yeah,
air?
it's back air.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry.
It's Jigglypuff's back air
But
off
I'm
stage.
just like,
up throw
I
rest.
get it. I get why it's working, and I also see how I know it's more than just like I'm just doing it. Like I know it's like precise. Like, oh, I'm trying to meet them at this point, and I get that. There's also the Jigglypuff can die at any time. Like I get that. She's not entirely true because she can float back, but she's a lightweight. She can fly at any time. And it's a fun hype character. She hits that sleep.
When she hits rest, yeah.
Yeah.
Someone every year puts together all of Hungrybox's rests and puts them in a YouTube video, and I watch it every year. It's so good because some of his because like there's the typical like low when they're at low percentage. If you do up throw rest, it's pretty much like even I've hit an up throw rest. Like I've hit it. It's pretty good. Super satisfying. But like sometimes
all right, wait. What does the rest do?
Rest with Jigglypuff.
Yeah.
If you do down B with Jigglypuff, she does rest, which is where if you're just standing there, she'll just put herself to sleep. But if you are right next to someone,
It has a hitbox.
it has a hitbox, and it's at least back in Melee, not so much in Smash 4 they nerfed it. So like it still does okay damage, but they have to be pretty high up to kill them. But like in Melee, if they're at like 10%, rest will kill.
Gone.
It just shoots you off the stage. But like they made it so powerful because like it's a really high risk move.
Yeah,
super
if
super
you
high
whiff,
risk.
If you whiff, you're literally asleep in front of the opponent,
Jigglypuff falls asleep for like 5
and
seconds.
you're going to get killed.
Normally, like if you're playing against a Fox will just pound lasers into you for like 4 seconds and then just up smash you and you're gone. Like that's what it is. But like there are a couple we have to finish here. But there are a couple combos where like. If they're low percentage and you do an up throw, because they're so low percentage, they won't fly very far.
Yeah.
So like an up throw, you can immediately go into rest. Like if you up throw, jump, and then rest, you can pretty much always hit it unless they, like then the fucking Smash DI started to come out directional influencing. Like I still don't really understand that fully, but like I love watching Hungrybox rest combo videos because just the way he nails them, and I'm like, how did he even know that would work, or did he even know?
That is one of the most I'm not a Smash player. I played Smash 4 for a while. I actually entered a Smash 4 tournament. Did better than Colin.
Oh no!
Oh snap! No, Colin is way better than me for that game.
Colin is frustratingly good at Smash.
Colin's very good at Smash. But one of the things that always intrigued me about Smash is that there's no true combos. There are, but they're not. Like, it was never intended. Combos are an unintended thing. I mean, a lot of things in Smash are unintended. That's also the fun of it. And to see players still put together combos, and one of the things that causes combos not to be a thing is directional influence. When you're getting hit, the game has a predetermined direction in which the move that you're getting hit by will send you. So, like, say the move, just for argument's sake, is going to send you straight up. You can lessen the space that you are going to get sent straight up at by holding down, tapping down.
Yeah.
And so you might, for all intents and purposes, you're like, oh, I'm going to get KO'd when I get hit by this move. But you can fight it by just kind of tapping your stick in that direction. And you will directional influence yourself and keep yourself alive. So that's it's a big way that people get out of combos is by adjusting the directional influence. It
totally changed the
I
game.
respect Smash players a lot because you talked about it being instinctive. It's an instinctive game. The match changes depending on the percentage because moves. When I play Street Fighter, when I hit this move with Ryu, it's going to have that effect at 10% life or at 90% life.
Right.
It's not going to matter. In Smash, it's different. These moves are now going to have a different influence at 10% and 90%, and I'm going to have to react differently. You have to be on your toes to play Smash a lot, and that's impressive. Like I got to tip my hat to those players who stick with it because I never was able to reach that fortitude in the short time I played Smash 4. But I respect it. Like, coming from a traditional fighting game background, like it is like this is going to happen. I can kind of create a strategy around that. Smash, your strategy kind of has to adapt as the match goes on, which is very interesting.
I'm really upset that I have to cut this short. because I feel like we can go for like another 2 hours. But I have a haircut appointment that I need to make, and it's snowing out. And my car's covered right now. So sadly, we must end. Ken, thank you for coming on. This is super last minute. And he was just like, "Yeah, I'll come on at 10 a.m. on a Saturday."
No,
I've
always
been
down.
I've been avoiding playing any Tekken because I want to wait for 7 to come out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which like don't people? Anyways, we do have to
There's already-
finish.
yeah, there's already
I have a
tournaments of
haircut
it.
appointment that I have to get to in the next 20 minutes on the other side of town. So that's Ken. Thanks again. We're gonna have you on probably pretty soon because I have a lot more that I want to talk about.
June or July, like at the very least.
Yep.
Pre-Evo will be a lot of
Pre-Evo.
fun
You
stuff
said
to talk about.
Zach's name a bunch. Zach has 2 episodes.
Yeah.
You
Zach,
can go back and
Zach's
find those.
episodes are really good too.
Yeah.
Like I've been actually itching to have Zach on again. Like I remember.
Which Zach's episodes are different from our the other Zach getting a nerd on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Different Zach.
So,
Different Zach, same name.
if you want to go back and find
different
those.
spelling. Anyways, that's going to do it for this week. We hope everyone enjoyed our fighting game chat. If you didn't like it, there's going to be more. So until next week, I was JR.
I'm Alex.
I'm Ken.
And this has been episode, I just closed my notes already, 251 of Opinions May Vary. It's good that we hit 250, so now I have like a gauge
Yeah.
for the next couple episodes. Anyways, 251. There it is.